In this module, we will summarize the entire cosmic methodology into what we call as the cosmic measurement process. And cosmic measurement process at a high level has three phases as we see here. The first is called the measurement strategy phase. Second is called the mapping phase. And third is called the measurement phase. In the measurement strategy phase, the purpose and scope of the FSM are defined. The software context model is then applied so that the software to be measured and the required measurement are unambiguously defined. So this measurement strategy is where we understand the purpose of the measurement and to know what is to be measured as part of that purpose, and to see how we get the functional user requirements of the software and then translate that into measurement going forward. So if we look at it semantically, in the measurement strategy phase, there should be an input from the sponsor who will provide the purpose and the scope of the measurement. And we will apply the software context model and provide the functional user requirements. And after this measurement phase, we should have been able to define each piece of software to be measured and of the required measurement to be done. So the output of this phase is that defined requirements which are to be measured according to the cosmic methodology. And these will be provided as an input to the mapping phase. And the mapping phase itself, when we look at it, is where the generic software model is applied to the FUR of the software to be measured to produce the cosmic model of the software that can be measured. So once we are complete with the measurement strategy phase, where we have applied the software context model and got the defined functional user requirements, in the mapping phase, we map these requirements to the elements that we identify in the cosmic methodology as functional processes, and within them the data movements. So once we are able to do this mapping, then we will be able to proceed further to the measurement phase, where this mapping will be an input to the measurement. And when we look at the semantic of this mapping phase, it will be like this. The definition of each piece of software to be measured and of the required measurement is taken as input, and we also provide the functional user requirements and apply the generic software model. And out of this, what we get is the functional user requirements in the form of generic software model, which can then be easily measured in the next phase. The next phase is the simple one where we harvest whatever has been identified earlier. These harvested things will be put together and be called the size of the software. So when we look at the semantic of this measurement phase, it looks like this. The FUR in the form of generic software model is taken as input. And what is output is the functional size of the software in the units called cosmic function points. So to summarize the entire cosmic measurement process, this is how it would be. The first is the measurement strategy phase, next is the mapping phase, and third is the measurement phase. In the measurement strategy phase, we take the inputs from the measurement sponsor, which will provide the purpose and the scope of the measurement. And we apply the software context model to it and take the FUR, and what is output is the definition of each piece of software to be measured and of the required measurement, which will become an input to the mapping phase. And to the mapping phase, FURs are again taken as input and the generic software model is applied, and the output would be the FUR in the form of generic software model, where we have identified the functional processes and the data movements within them. And this is taken as input to the measurement phase, and the final output will be the functional size of software in the units of cosmic function points. This is how we can represent cosmic methodology in a nutshell. There will be an application with its own persistent storage, and this application will have its boundary. And in this application, we identify the various functional processes. And those functional processes in themselves could have a certain number of entries. And there could be a certain number of exits to the functional process. And in between this, there could be a certain number of reads and or a certain number of writes to the persistent data store. So that is how, for an application, we identify the set of functional processes within it. And each of these functional process will be satisfying a certain business information need. And for that, each of the functional process may have its own set of sub-processes. In our case, they are called as data movements. The data movements will be moving data groups of certain objects of interest. And each of this data movement, which could be an entry, an exit, a read, or a write, is awarded one cosmic function point. So we identify these data movements, assign one cosmic function point to them. And for each functional process, we identify the respective number of data movements, which will be the number of cosmic function points for that respective functional process. And if we combine the sizes of the functional processes, it will be the size of the software. Thank you.